going on, everyone? It's Mike with one mic out. And this is my second time doing this because see this little thing right here underneath? This little switch. It's the on switch, and I didn't have that on the last video. So, redoing it kind of. Hopefully my thoughts ramble in the same order, but we'll see. John Gruden. Talking about John Gruden earlier. Las Vegas Raiders head coach, or at least he was, and now he's gone. Why? Because of some emails that he sent 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. Meanwhile, so he's getting crucified right now. He fired him as the Las Vegas Raiders head coach. Madden 22 is dropping him. They have to kind of redo and do some adjustments to the game, which is, interesting, but whatever. I'm sure he used to work for ESPN. I'm sure he's not going to be getting a job with them. I personally think, hey, go to Saban's rehab and rehabilitate yourself as a offensive or defensive coordinator or something. Who knows? But the takeaway of all this is you can literally be a sports athlete and making millions and beat the hell out of your wife or significant other or kill dogs or murder people, and all's forgiven, you're back. John Gruden, email 10 years ago, private conversation, expressing his opinion, which we're all allowed to have, gets canceled. Tampa Bay took him out of their, I think their Ring of Honor or Ring of Fame or what the hell they call it over there. So because he used to coach in Tampa Bay, obviously. He's just getting canceled all over the place. And it's not even, it's really, it was 10 years ago. What have you done? Like, what did you do 10 years ago that could be controversial today? We live in that time where you have to be careful about that. A buddy of mine told me, he's like, you are your own brand. And what he means by that is your brand is your reputation. And so whoever you surround yourself with, what you choose to do with your free time, what you post about and what you put up, you're branding yourself. So by staying away from certain areas and engaging in others, that's your branding. You're in the process of branding yourself. And so, when you're in the public eye, like a John Gruden, unfortunately, I know Facebook wasn't that big back then and Twitter wasn't super huge yet, but, and it wasn't on any of those platforms, but I'm just using those as examples because we all use them daily. But he sent some emails out, never thinking they'd come back to haunt him 10 years ago. And to be honest, they shouldn't haunt them. It shouldn't be a thing. It should be it should have just been an apology and that's that. This is 10 years ago. You don't know what this man has done in the last 10 years to move past that or whatever it was. This is an email. But instead he's getting super crucified. But you got like people like Tyreek Hill who beat up his wife and now he's back in the league playing, I think, for the Chiefs. Stuff like that. But, it's just a crazy, mad world we live in. The cancel culture. Watch the Dave Chappelle show. The new one last night is special. And all he talks, the only thing, Dave Chappelle, I could care less for Dave Chappelle, but he has some funny jokes, but all his jokes are about, whether it's like transgender, LGBTQ stuff, or, hating on white people. And he even admits it in thing. He's like, I don't have a problem with you, I have a problem with whites. And even that statement alone, comedian or not, if it would have been a white comedian who, and this is at a very candid, real part of the special, like because he bounces in and out. He goes sometimes he's in jokes and sometimes he'll talk to you, try and be serious. But the problem with that, and I don't have a problem with him saying whites, that or that. The problem is if you knew the role was reversed and it was let's just say it was Joe Rogan, which coincidentally they're going to go on tour together, who said that. It's like, I don't have a problem with gay people. I just have a problem with the blacks. Even if you're a comedian, you're getting canceled. Guaranteed. You could not get away with saying that. But you can get away with saying, I have a problem with the whites. That's when I just, at that point, kind of fast forward through it. I don't easily get offended. I believe being offended is a choice. It's something that you choose to. It's a behavior that you choose, that you can control. It's not a knee jerk reaction to where you get the little rubber triangle thing. It bops you on the knee and causes that shin and foot to move forward involuntarily. Being offended is not that. Being offended is a choice. It's 100% a choice. You can choose not to be offended. And what I mean by that, I'll put it this way. Have you ever been out at a bar or out somewhere and, everyone's drinking and having a good time, and then there's that one dude who he's either the fighter of the group or wants to be the fighter of the group, or you see somebody who is causing a ruckus who's not part of your group and trying to start something. I always revert back to the reason I'm out in the first place. It's to have a good time. It's not to get in a fight. It's not to get offended at stupid stuff. It's literally just to have a good time. So whenever a situation like that approaches me, or comes to me, I will tactfully disengage that whole situation and just be like, yeah, we're not here for this. We're not here to have a bad time, because it'll, you get in that fight. It's going to obviously ruin your night, because now you're not with your friends anymore drinking or doing whatever you were doing, having a good time. You may have been arrested at this point, so now you got to go through all the legal bullshit, and it just ruins your mood. Number one for me is your mood just gets ruined. And I don't like that. I like to always be in a good mood, as best as a mood I possibly can. And I'm pretty ornery and stuff like that sometimes, but when I'm out in public, because I am my own brand, and if I comport myself a certain stupid way, I'm hurting my brand. That's why when I see friends post stuff on Facebook, what I'm talking about. If it's a very emotional ridden post where you can tell that not a lot of thought was put into the post, it was just a quick something offended them or pissed them off, and they throw it up, and then you read that, you're almost showing your hand to everyone else that you cannot control your those impulses to need to fire back. Yes, there are appropriate times to do so, but not when you're out and you're your own brand. You're representing yourself. You're representing yourself. So treat yourself as if you were a brand, because you're going to be judged by the company you keep and by the actions in which you carry out. So you got to become a master of not being offended, choose not to be offended, and fighting those little inclinations in your head of impulse or immediate reaction and things like that. You don't want to do that. Just chill out, disengage the situation. And so, but there are appropriate times when you can, break out of that, and you might need to do, whatever it is you got to do to get work done. But for the most part, just treat yourself as if you were a brand, and you want to remain the best seller. That's a good, best advice I can give when it comes to that kind of stuff. But back to Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle and John Gruden. They're trying to cancel Dave Chappelle now after he apologized a million times to the LGBTQ, whatever community. They're still trying to do walkouts at Netflix and stuff like that, whatever. It's just a mad world we live in. Now, with all this distraction going on, where we're always focused inward, go ahead and hop on the Google machine and take a look outward to what's happening. Our ports right now are not receiving ships with packed containers of exported goods from other countries and imported goods to our country. And a buddy of mine, and I'd seen it the other day too, where people were talking about, maybe it's like, the conspiracy theory that if you take a look, like, the country's surrounded right now. Like, other than, obviously, we don't have water on our north border except for the Great Lakes, but West Coast, Gulf of Mexico, and the East Coast, we're outlined with like so many damn cargo ships full of goods and stuff that aren't coming into port. And so the conspiracy theory going on right now is, what if it's a Trojan horse? What if it's China essentially getting ready to invade, and these cargo ships are actually troop carriers? Think about that one for a second. Now, that's a conspiracy theory, obviously, but it would make a great movie or book, because with how distracted we all are right now with COVID, vaccine mandates, just all that kind of stuff that's been going on. We've been so focused on all that, and racism and all that kind of stuff, that do I think we're still strong enough to hold them off? Absolutely. But this is the weakest we've been, the country has been in decades. And so if you were, I'd say, an axis of evil country like a China, this would probably be your best chance to do something like that. I'm just saying, it would be interesting. Someone should make a movie about it. It could be, it could be like, whatever has fallen. The borders have fallen, and it could be Gerard Butler or whatever his name is, who could be the star of that one, something like that. But it's craziness. It's a crazy world. A lot of madness going on still, and I don't even think I covered half of what I was trying to talk about earlier, but doesn't matter. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd like to know. So hit me up at One Mic Out on Facebook. It's all spelt out, or the number One Mic Out on Instagram, or One Mic Out on YouTube. And let me know what you think, what your thoughts are and all that. I mean, it's some interesting stuff going on. But, just want to kind of throw that out there and see, what you got to say about it, and, have a constructive thought. But remember, you choose to be offended. It's not a reaction. It's a choice. So just choose not to be offended. And then guess what? You don't have to waste energy on being pissed off all the time. Anyway, this is Mike with One Mic Out, and I'll hit you with the next one soon.